Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I was just watching AEW, man, and I'd love to talk with you a little bit about this, man. I saw the second half of it tonight, and I gotta say, man, Chris Jericho on commentating is one of the greatest things going on right now in wrestling on television.
Yeah.
Um, have you heard any of the stuff he's been saying, man?
I heard a little bit of stuff here and there too. Like I know I do remember a few weeks ago that not too long ago Matt Hardy did show up on AEW and somehow got involved in a feud with Chris Jericho. So that's pretty interesting because I remember back in the day with WWE, yeah, Chris Jericho had his share of run-ins with Matt Hardy there. So it should be interesting seeing how the two of them do in AEW and like how they're them going at it in AEW is different than WWE.
Yeah, it's crazy because they're moving along pretty fast. They're doing a tournament right now for like a TNT title or something like that,
Yeah,
and they're starting to get into the booking. I could tell because I saw a younger cat tonight going at it with Dustin Rhodes or whatever, and like they're getting into the matches now. It seems like so that's pretty cool.
yeah,
I enjoy it. I look forward to it all week, and then once it's about to go on, I like, zone out on the computer or some shit like that, and I forget that it's on, so I missed half of it. But I don't know. What have you been thinking about what's been going on with, with what happened with WrestleMania, WWE, now Vince McMahon doing the sports stuff? You know what I mean? Like, tell us what you think's going on with all this.
I kind of think it's pretty interesting doing the empty arena matches and all too, like because it gives a whole different vibe to it because normally we're used to when we see wrestling and like WrestleMania like attendance records with millions and thousands of people in big stadiums, but then this year it's like an overall attendance WrestleMania broke the attendance records again too with the attendance of 0, which is another time they broke it, but having nobody in the crowd. But one thing though, like with AEW that they're doing, is like they're getting instead of having empty arena matches, they're having wrestlers in the audience filling the spots of the
Yeah, I
fans.
like that too. How they're doing that. It's pretty cool because like I always look forward to seeing Britt Baker, and she's always out there. That girl's hilarious.
Yeah, she is, and actually
Yo.
in real life. Britt Baker's a dentist too.
Yeah, and just some of her classic shit that she's saying right now. I mean, she's earning her spot right now. And they're doing shit that I wish they weren't doing with the whole cell phone stuff. But all right. So with that being said, I'm gonna jump topics for a second. Chris Jericho on commentating said he said last week he was talking about pinning Suge Knight. And he said it about 3 times in the match, so he obviously was thinking about it a lot. Which
Yeah.
I thought was interesting because of all the DJ sets that we have done on the Pro Wrestling Archives page. So I think you sending that stuff to Cody might have had a little bit of an impact on something. I don't know. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. That's what it looks like to me. So then, this week Jericho said something about Machiavelli.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, something that he might have, saw or heard on the Pro Wrestling Archive. So, Chris Jericho, if you're out there, man, we're with you. We want to be a part of the revolution, and we also want to do this in the name of Philly Pro Wrestling. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I know like things are AEW. I could tell like they're really taking off. Like yeah, but in a lot of ways they're doing a lot. They're doing better than WWE. Like only thing that I would actually say too is because Wednesday nights when AEW is on, NXT is also on too. Which in my opinion, like NXT is like doing really well.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it tonight. The presentation is different. Like, I like the way AEW's presentation is better, but I can see that it's almost like WWE's not even trying at times, and they're still just, at a level that is hard to reach. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of all that. I don't know what to make of what WWE's doing right now. I really don't have any comment. but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that that's a good thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's just my own opinion. Like it's kind of just, I don't know. I mean, maybe what's going on in the other side of the world or whatever, where Vince McMahon is now. What is his role, Alan? What exactly is going on?
All I know is like like Vince McMahon was selected by Donald Trump to be one of his advisors for reopening up the businesses in the country after this COVID-19 lockdown.
All right. Well,
Which that should be pretty interesting because like Vince McMahon and Donald Trump, they've been friends for a while, and I know Vince's wife Linda McMahon is on Donald Trump's board to support him and all. I don't really know like what else she's doing for him, but I know like they're all the McMahons and Trump are connected somehow, and like I know like that even back in the day, in Battle of the Billionaires in WWE, where Donald Trump and Vince McMahon had an angle going, and then later on, like when Donald Trump owned Monday Night Raw.
Well, so check it. So, what I'll say about all this is I'm rooting for Vince McMahon to be able to do the best job he can, and I'm proud of Vince McMahon for working hard to get even, into this, position to be able to do what he's doing. I think that, Vince McMahon is the man.
Mm-hmm.
And Cornette was saying this the other day. He was saying that he truly believes that Vince McMahon is basically like a Donald Trump, but actually more of the better side of that kind of, personality type.
Yeah.
Like, if Vince McMahon took all the best parts of Donald Trump, then, there you go. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're similar in that sense. But this is what I would say is there's so much going on right now in the world, or so much not going on. I don't really know how to call it in this sense.
Yeah.
But that we need to do something about bringing good pro wrestling back. And this is why I truly endorse Jim Cornette. And I know that some of his ideas some of the stuff he says might be really harsh realities to some people, and it doesn't make us feel good to say this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But, like, we want that real deal pro wrestling back, like those classic cards, the classic guys, and we want to see that shit like it's fucking 1989, 1986, 1996, even like, So, like, where was ECW going when it closed in 2000? I know that the roster was, where it was, but I remember seeing people like Danny Doring and Roadkill get their time.
Yeah.
Those guys are real wrestling heads, man. Those guys deserve their time. People like that, you know what I mean? There's people around. I've seen the talent at the arena, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see what happens with all this. I'm tired of sitting back and thinking, man, WWE, man, this shit used to be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
AEW is at least giving us something different. That's allowing us to be excited about something.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'm
AEW
not
is like
excited to watch Raw and shit like that, man.
yeah, AEW is like bringing back a style of wrestling that like we haven't seen in a while, because I know AEW is actually on TNT, the same channel that WCW is on, and in a lot of ways I kind of think it's cool hearing Jim Ross on commentary again, and because I remember about like 2 years ago. Yeah, I heard Jim Ross on commentary when I was watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I know New Japan's got a lot of stuff going on too. So.
Yeah, definitely. And dude, not to mention, I wanted to talk a little bit about MLW, man. Is if I was AEW, I'd be teaming up with MLW on some stuff, man. They got some good guys there, and if they did some kind of talent exchange or even some kind of like, interpromotional, war or battle or whatever you want to call it, but just, have it be a work, that'd be a really great situation, man.
Yeah, because that's one thing I don't get about wrestling, because it's all about like it's like taboo, like with WWE, to ever open it up and do like interpromotional stuff. But honestly, I kind of think what they should do is like for WrestleMania, like throughout the whole year, just do all WWE stuff. But then WrestleMania will be the one time a year where they do interpromotional everything, like to see who the best of the best is.
Wow. like an all-star game almost.
Yeah, because you figure like all year round,
Wow.
each of the promotions like they'll do their own stuff and they'll do their own thing, and then like at WrestleMania they'll all have an agreement where like for that one show, they just come and they just come together at that one show and they have and they just all battle each other out to see who the number one winner is. Like and maybe.
You know what I was going to say about that is I would say right off the bat, like we would love to see Cody Rhodes versus Triple H. You know what I mean?
Dude, that would be
a dream match.
It would be, yeah. Like you get to
just had the two guys that own it just go at it.
Yeah, like you get to see like some pretty cool dream matches that way too.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would love to see like MJF versus The Rock or something like that.
Yeah. I know even though The Rock isn't really active right now, but still, like if they bring him back for like one show a year, that'll be dope.
Yeah. Well, he keeps coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing when it comes to WWE that you just can't fuck with, and that is the fact that those guys, you know, can bring back anybody at any time, especially with the kind of money Vince has, even in all of this shit that's going on today.
Like one match I'd like to see too, like, but I don't see it happening because I don't know if he would come back in the ring at all, but Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles, or Shawn Michaels versus Dolph Ziggler. I would love to see that. I'd love to see if that's some sort of thing with one of those matches, like AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels, AJ Styles or AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler, or Dolph Ziggler versus Shawn Michaels, because all those guys have similar styles.
Yeah.
Shit, I'd even like Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. I could see them having a classic feud.
Well, we always talk about, you know, the Charlotte Tessa matches and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I mean that's cool too, because that's coming from a whole different angle. That would be Impact in WWE, right?
Yeah, that would be dope. I'd like to see that one.
Yeah, and they got some girls in Impact too. I'd like to see go at it, like Kira Hogan. Man, there were some gals up there, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Also, you know, of course, the local guys, CCW and House of Hardcore, and you know, what do you call it? The fucking league you work for, man. Combat Zone.
Yeah, Combat Zone, CZW, yeah.
So, I mean, dude, there's some shit going on, man.
Yeah, like, I'd actually like to see, like, CZW and CCW get together and do some shows, too. Like, I know Matt Tremont does a lot with CZW. I'd like to see, like, a CZW Cage of Death match, Rob Noxious versus Matt Tremont. Now, that would be epic. And honestly, like, it was weird because, like, back when this whole thing started with the lockdowns and all, with the COVID-19, like, I remember Matt Tremont posted something about having a school and having the ability to do empty arena matches in his school. And, like, the first thing I did when I saw that, because he challenged anybody, I, like, automatically tagged Rob Noxious in that, and I was like, like, dude, that would be sick to see this match happen. And I know Rob Noxious did on Facebook, you know how you could like a comment or something like that. Rob Noxious hit love, as in he loved that comment, which definitely means that's something. Yeah, like that's something that I could see actually happening. Rob Noxious versus Matt Tremont in a match, even in an empty arena match.
You should talk to your guys over there and then make that happen, man. Because that would be a great match, and that'd be a great spot to see it at too.
Yeah, because CZW.
That building, man. That building's something else, man.
Yeah, because CZW, like, I didn't expect it to be as hardcore as it was at one time. The first time I came out, like, I remember I was working as a cable pager at the show, where I was, like, wrangling cables for the camera guys, and I remember in that Cage of Death match, that one manager of one of the wrestlers in that, she was climbing on the outside of the cage to get into the ring, and she, like, took a massive bump off the side of the cage, through, like, a cable covered in barbed wire. Like, damn.
Yeah. We saw some really crazy shit up there. I mean, it's very similar to the old arena shows, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a similar vibe, man. So, all right. So, what do you think needs to happen with wrestling on television? Because one thing I will say is AEW is definitely a lot more exciting than WWE. However, they both still fall into that category of like, you know, almost kind of embarrassing to watch. I hate to say that because I do love pro wrestling, but I also have to like always be honest with myself about the level of what we're watching. Because back in the day, a lot of them guys, man, like they were guys you would run into at bars and shit like that. Like that whole vibe was what was going on at the time. The vibe that's going on at the time now is more like AA based in general, I would say, than like let's go out and party. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But where does that common ground meet? Not necessarily of like, you know, alcoholics and stuff like that, but just like when can we go out and really celebrate again being, you know, being raised in the culture that we've been raised in?
I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting. I can't wait till we could get back to that point again. But back to what you're saying about like seeing some of these guys in a bar with wrestling and all. I know. Like, I think it'd be kind of crazy for a promotion to have like a barroom brawl match.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, back in ECW, back in the day, you had the Sandman who had his alcoholic gimmick, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin was doing the same thing in WWE. It would be kind of crazy to see, like, the two of them go at it in a match in a barroom brawl.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I mean, I think, like, with Austin's neck, I don't think he's ever going to fight again, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, and Sandman, I know, like, I know, like, I've seen him at the arena a couple times at House of Hardcore, but, they're just doing run-ins and stuff. But yeah, like it'll be kind of cool, like to get some new guys in there too, like that want to make a name for themselves in that same thing, putting them in a barroom brawl and just letting them go at it.
You know, I gotta say, man, it was interesting running into the Sandman at the arena because every time I'm seeing something unfold, like he was talking to Pillman Jr. and like giving him advice or talking to him about a match or something like that. I'll talk to you soon, man. I feel like we're on Wayne's World.
All right, cool. I'll talk to you soon, bro. Thanks for tuning in.